are Smart City Navigators, a podcast about innovation, sustainability, and new technologies on the market.
This podcast is brought to you by Naviparking. Maciek Cichoński is a former project manager, freshly baked director of hospitality in Naviparking. With international project experience and engineering background, he believes that achievable milestones are built on precise communication, great culture organization, and innovative spirit. This smart part in smart cities should be based not only on technology, but business ethics as well. Let's welcome Maciek Cichoński in today's episode of Smart City Navigators. Hello, Maciek.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. It's nice, it's Friday, so finally I booked this 2.5 hours for this our meeting, and to be honest, for me personally, it's the best slot this week, because finally we can just sit, we can talk a little bit about the nice topics actually, and I don't need to focus on the daily tasks, which is concentration is a must.
Are you stressed?
No, I'm just drank my coffee, so I'm rather on the caffeine, so it's not a stress, it's just exciting, I think.
This is the topic I wanted to ask in today's episode, and the topic is managing projects. I know you are very good with this, and the first question is how to manage projects in multiple regions, like Poland, like Dubai, like Manama.
Yes, actually, it's a very tricky question. Lately, we have the interview in our blog, which is published already, and actually, I've received a similar question, and it's not the question I can answer with only one sentence, obviously. And it's nice to hear that you consider and that I'm good at project management, but it's a process. I'm still learning. It's something like in any other discipline that you need to learn all the time. And it's the same about the multiple regions, because every region we need to treat a little bit separately, as we have different demands, we have a different approach, we have a different stakeholders, and there of course the cultural aspects, different even calendars, right? Because our company is focused in Poland and in the MENA region, so as you mentioned, Manama in Bahrain and Dubai in UAE. And both of these countries, for example, works, during the Sundays, right? So managing the projects and the planning task, even you need to even remember about something like that we have the Fridays, like working days, they have Fridays off. So it's very easy when you plan the deadline to make a mistake, and also the bank holidays are different, because we have the cultural and the religious aspects which we need to respect. So as I started, it's exciting and it's demanding, but I personally like challenges. So for me, it's a pleasure to working in the separate projects and to cooperate with these people, because you can learn a lot directly from them and from the stakeholders as well.
I think you need to have some skills, not only as a manager, but also psychological skills and also social skills as well.
It's very actually important for me, and I believe that this is a new approach to project management at all, and we can name it as ethics in business in general, because for me it's not all about the task and focusing on the deadlines. It's like you will not be successful during the project if you will not respect your teammates, actually, because project manager is like the outside package. It's like the presenter, right? So as I try to emphasize every time, I cannot finish the project without the people. I'm just only try to coordinate and help them and to have everything at once. But we are working in the IT industry, so without our developer teams, I wouldn't even complete any of the projects, right? The same for the hardware part, IoT installations, the same for the marketing. We have the complex team, the design team as well. So as you mentioned, the psychological part is very important, because we as a PMs need to create kind of space for the other teams to give them this creativity. We cannot manage this task in the chaotic way, day by day and hour by hour, because they have also other projects. I'm not the only one project manager. So only then, with the right approach and with the respect to them, it will be fruitful cooperation.
I think you have to also be a little bit of a leader, because project manager has to lead some other people as well, and like you said, to cooperate every single task with different people. How to manage and how to succeed in that area?
Yes, personally I believe that what I mentioned, this respect, it's creating this space, and this leadership then becomes very natural, because people, you can ask the people what do they like to be treated, and you can also they consider you as a leader when you refer to them. You don't like rule with the hard rules, because you need to ask them how it's like. You need to listen to them, and then if they see that they have a partnership actually with you in this project, they start to consider you as a leader, because we very often comes to the point like a milestone, right? And then sometimes you need to decide fast, and then this leadership is naturally comes out. So then you make this decision, and all of the people behind you actually knows that this decision is right. You need to explain them, because if people are involved, they don't like to listen only the task. They like to have the background, right? Like the developer teams, they develop the product not for themselves or for me. They do it for the clients, so they also wants to listen other stakeholders, right? So this everything is like the ecosystem for me, and this leadership, it's actually something which needs to be divided into different parts: the psychological part, the mutual respect, the organization, the good time management, and of course the good decision making. Everything is very comprehensive.
I think sometimes you deal with hard questions, with hard situations, but at the other side, there's also a lot of fun in your work as well. Is it possible to connect being a PM and having fun with your work?
Of course, it's a crucial part for me. And to be honest, I'm having fun all the time, because these hardest decisions and these hardest parts, the biggest challenges, this is for me the most fun part actually, because if everything is going smoothly, that you have this feeling that something's wrong actually. It cannot be that easy, right? So the risk management for the project managers is like the whole new thing. I mean, not new thing, but a very important part, right? The risk management, something when you need to monitor day by day, and risk management is about decreasing this risk which are monitored day by day. But this fun part is about these decisions which are unexpected and comes to you, and then you need to react fastly, but actually with this whole knowledge and the data behind you. So it's fun. But the most fun is to cooperate with these people, because we are all together inside of this project. So human beings, right? It's not only the task in some Jira or Asana. It's like the communication via Slack to one-to-one meetings. I really love to manage this project in Dubai when I had a chance to be there and to meet these guys and to have a meeting after the work as well, to get a little bit know of each other. So that's the most exciting part.
And I'm curious, where did you learn the ability to manage risky decisions? Because it's not a typical ability of a human being to deal with risky decisions every single day. Where did you learn that?
If you would ask me for one point in the timeline of my life, I couldn't pick only one. I believe that during the studies, I was involved in the students' organization, and it was international organization IST. And there, I'd love to manage the projects. There were like small projects with another my teammates, different students. Then I was actually realized that I would like to try to lead a bigger project. So then finally I became a vice president and then president of the local committee. So there were like 30 people there inside of the committee. So it was expected from me actually to manage the decisions. And then also in the national level, we have some structures, the board. So in the total, I would recommend, because this whole organization in Poland was 600 students, and it was totally managed by us. So it was a good environment to learn from each other and to bite this topic a little bit. So then I realized that I really like it, and I like that the people can trust me, and I really care about what I say. So this word can be successfully realized of mine, and I think that was the first steps in the project management, and it took a few years actually of my life during the studies, and then in later on in the next job, actually I very early became the head of the small manufacturing department of the medical devices. So I also had to create the new team around me. So as well, the board of that company expected fast decision making from me, and many of the skills that I actually fortunately learned from the previous experience.
How do you deal with stress? Just by yourself?
I don't know, actually. To be honest, I don't know, because that's the question I asked myself. Right? What's the most effective way of resting for me? And then I decided that I will try to monitor my personal data. I would start to, because I loved sport since the very early years. So now I bought the sport watch, and then I will monitor myself. Maybe this watch tells me when I'm stressed, when I'm not, because to be honest, I don't feel the difference. I'm not stressed right now and during the task. This is like daily job for me. So if I would realize that there is too much stress in my daily work, that means, other words, that maybe it's not for me, right? Maybe I would need to find something less stressful.
Okay, Maciek, so let's go back to project management. Let's just leave the stress behind. And the next question is, how do you deal with all these different places? You have Middle East, you have Poland, you have Europe.
That's a very good question, and for me, it's a crucial part of this job. I was looking for the place where I can develop myself into different markets. Actually, I didn't expect that it will be MENA region, but it's even more interesting. So definitely, I started this project with communication with stakeholders on site and with my teammates which are on site, right? So because we have a team in Dubai, we have a team in Bahrain as well. So I wanted to spend some time to talk with them and to ask what is the cultural aspect, what is important for them actually during the daily works. Because, for example, in Manama, in Bahrain and in Dubai, I believe as well, but in Bahrain I realized that this is even more important, this connections, but networking in the way that you need to meet with these guys on site. You need to, this is the matter of the respect, right? It's not about the mails and about the video conferences. It's about being on site, to talk with them, to shake the hands, because the word is very important. And I don't mean that in Poland, for example, it's not important, but our cultural style is like we want to have everything in the mails, etc. And there, even if there is a mail, you need to look in the eye of this person, because you're rather giving the word of yourself. So if they meet you, then it's rather project with you, not like with the company, right? So I like it a lot. And it's about the Manama actually, but fortunately I have my teammate there, Ahmed, and he explained me everything. So I actually asked him to have these meetings on site. So for now, until I am there, he's my right hand, and he's my partner actually. Without him, this project will not be successful, because I don't believe that you can manage the projects from Poland, which is actually our first, like the big project there. So it's our reference. We need to take care with all of the aspects. But it's only one thing, of course. Maybe we can also mention about the marketing channels, because this is also very important for us to create the new channels. This is new areas, especially for Bahrain and in Dubai as well. And obviously the marketing needs to be done in a different way. For example, in Bahrain, in UAE, another channel, like the more traditional channels, are more successful than in Poland, for example, right? If I will give you a flyer in Poland, it's an old-fashioned way. So we rather focus in the Google tools and the whole the internet marketing. There, we need to actually reach out the outsourcing companies which are on site and to ask them, guys, what is it like? What your daily job looks like? What would you recommend us? So this cooperation with the companies on site is very important, and it's also about the partnership in this project with them. If this is a model of the shared revenue and this kind of the success fee, they will be also involved, they will care, and they will have this really accurate recommendations for this project. So it's important, and we'll try to do it that way that, for example, for installations on site, as we have also the IoT equipment and the parking infrastructure, we talk with the specialists which are available on site, right? So that's very good, and we try to go in the partnership model rather than just to outsource that, pay for that, and never see each other again.
So it's like a human connection, right?
Yes, it's again all about the human connections. So it's also all about the long goals, not only the single projects, because it's also the time consuming to looking for the another partners for every project, right? So projects are building the trustful between the sides, and then we can cooperate further, we can scale in this market. So, and then I don't need to spend this time to looking for another specialist, because we actually are happy. Both sides are looking into the potential for the further growth. So I believe that this is the best business model there.
Okay, Maciek. So let's talk about apps. How to implement apps on other markets?
We have in our portfolio many applications which could be interesting regardless of the market. But as a PM, sometimes we are involved also in the, let's say, the process of sales before the agreements level, because we know these projects, we actually implemented these apps, so we know the boundaries, and maybe in this phase we are better to explain to the client what he can expect from our portfolio of the products, because it's maybe not so obvious for the first time. So we talk with the clients, with the person which is responsible for the sales, and we explain that we have this product. First, product A is dedicated to B2C clients. We have the portal which is dedicated for the subscriptions and reservations. We also explain that there are some differences, and we propose to implement these applications regardless of the market, right? It's the same process actually in Poland, in Manama, in Dubai, around the world. So generally, what we need to take care during the app implementation, especially when it's the first time on this market, it's the legal questions. It's important because, for example, in Europe we have the privacy policy which is regulated highly. In MENA regions it's a little bit different approach, but it also needs to be involved in our applications. Other aspects like payments in general, right? Because we have the financial structures and they're everywhere. So we need to integrate with the payment operator, because we are not the bank. So we need to find someone who has this deal with the bank and to connect with them another way of the partnership, right? So we can use their channels to process the payments and to make everything right and according with the law. It's also worth to mention that these differences are also visible in the features of these apps, right? The features can be applied in a different ways as well.
Okay, can you have any example of that?
Yes, sure. Then the examples can be very obvious for us from our point of view, as we try to digital the parkings, and we have this feature in the app that you can fill your plates, and then it's connected with the IoT devices on site, and this IoT device analyzing your car and your plates, and then it's letting you in and out in a smooth way. So this is a good example because, for example, in the UAE and in Bahrain, these plates can have the different format, right? So it's different. So you cannot validate these plates in the same way. And for example, for the cameras, which has their own software as well, it also needs to be implemented. That because this is about the picture recognition. So it's important to have the cooperation with the right partners of the cameras and to have this pointed out that these plates are different, right? So we need to install the right software as well for the cameras.
Cameras and also full automatization of the parking. For me, it means smart city. And what's your definition of that?
I can agree with that, of course. As we manage the smart mobility in total, let's say that this is the part of the smart city, it's a very important one. So we will try to reach the level of the autonomous parkings, full digitalized, and this is the one step forward into this goal, because it's based on the cameras, smart cameras and PR cameras. It's based as well on the QR code readers, with the infrastructure, the typical infrastructure for the parking, so the barriers needs to be there as well. For now, for the future, maybe we can also remove them. But there are some differences because we have no traditional cash machine, we have no ticket machines because the ticket is digital there, right? Ticket is digital, the payments are all in app, so the app is this kind of the device that you need to have. And not always as well, but I will not go further, but you don't need to have anything else but the application and the phone. So we actually communicate. This app is communicating with the IoT devices, with this mentioned cameras. Our mother products, this Navi controller, which is developed by our engineers and give us advantage in the market because it helps us to cover all of the side quests of daily basis hard examples. Because we are talking about the different markets. So in Poland, we can have the situation where there is a snow, which makes this plate not visible, right? And this camera is only the camera, so it's analyzing the picture, and then maybe the picture is not that easy to recognize. So then the controller again and QR code readers together, it covers us 100% of the examples. So this is our advantage. So the whole system is meant to be totally autonomous.
Nice. It sounds like very new technology. Is there any company who has the same technology?
To be very honest, there are some companies, of course, and also big players which are trying to digitalize the parking, but in the different ways, I believe. They have their own goals, and this topic start to be hot. But I believe that there is no company which is treat this topic same as we actually treat it, because we also opens for the market the facilities that are used to be dedicated only for the users of these facilities. So hotels, corporate parkings are usually empty after the, let's say, out of the season, or maybe after the working hours, and they're in the nice locations. And what we do, we actually open them for the market, and this is something what can be value for our partners, because they have an asset, and this asset is this parking spot, and we use this asset in the mutual benefits. So this is like the business aspects of our projects, which are unique, I believe.
Nice. And also the parking owners, they can also earn the money.
Yes, of course. This is like I said, this business cannot be successful without the mutual benefits, because we're based on the shared revenue model. So each of us has different actually benefits, right? So everyone can treat this project as a source of new possibilities.
How do you feel about the future of this project, and how do you feel about the future of yourself in this project?
Growing,
of course,
and scaling,
of course.
And to be honest, what I like is that this potential of us it's also starting to be visible for the big partners. The big players wants to talk with us. We have first the big partner, the AutoPay, with almost 600,000 users, which can also use our fully digital parkings, and we have another discussions ongoing. So for myself personally, it's a very nice chance to develop the project with the big players, with the big goals, the bigger challenges, and the budgets, of course. So harder the better, in another way. And of course, about this market, as I mentioned, we started to first project in Bahrain. We are developing in UAE, where we have a few projects now. So yeah, we would like to achieve this position of the leader in this sector in both of these MENA countries, and then will be others for sure.
This sounds great, and I hope everything will materialize for yourself and also for the company. So I'm looking forward for the next interview with you.
Oh yes, same for me. Thank you.
So thanks, Maciek, and see you next time.
See you next time. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Smart City Navigators podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Join the conversation by leaving a comment and sharing your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, in which we'll do another deep dive into a topic related to innovation, sustainability, and new technologies. See you next time.